Ladies and gentlemen, every day we're faced with a simple choice, a choice that echoes far beyond the moment, a choice that shapes our future. Discipline is waking up when your body begs for sleep. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's doing the work, sticking to the plan, grinding through the pain because you made a promise to yourself and you're not about to break it. Every single day, life gives us a quiet moment of choice. It's that second when you're deciding whether to hit snooze or get up, whether to put in the work or make an excuse, whether to stick to your path or take the easy detour. That decision may seem small, almost forgettable, but over time, those moments build into something massive. Because on the other side of that choice is either discipline or regret. One hurts now, the other hurts forever. Discipline isn't comfortable. It asks for sacrifice. It demands that you do the thing you don't feel like doing again and again. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't wait for motivation. Discipline is about making your actions match your goals, not your feelings. That's what makes it hard. That's what makes it powerful. Waking up early when your body aches, that's discipline. Staying in to work when your friends are out, that's discipline. Saying no to distractions when every part of you wants to give in, that's discipline, and it hurts. It really does. But that pain is temporary. It passes. The soreness fades, the fatigue lifts, and what's left behind is progress. What's left is strength, resilience, and pride in knowing you didn't quit. That's the reward of discipline. It shapes you. It pushes you beyond what you thought you could endure. It turns you into someone you respect. Now let's talk about regret. Regret is a different kind of pain. It doesn't show up right away. It waits until the opportunity is gone, until the door is closed, until there's no more time left. Then it hits. Regret doesn't yell. It whispers. You could have done more. You should have tried harder. You let it slip, and those whispers don't go away. They stay with you, replaying over and over in your mind. Not because you failed, but because you didn't even try as hard as you could have. Regret is watching someone else succeed at something you gave up on. Regret is seeing the life you wanted in someone else's hands. Regret is realizing that your comfort cost you your dreams. That's the pain no one talks about. The ache of knowing you were capable of more, but you chose ease instead. That pain doesn't fade like muscle soreness. It settles in. It becomes part of your story unless you decide to change it. The truth is, both paths, discipline and regret, come with pain. There's no escaping it. The pain of discipline is now, it's sweat, early mornings, long nights, and saying no to what feels good in the moment. But that pain builds you. It leads to pride, freedom, and fulfillment. The pain of regret is later. It's internal, it's emotional, and worst of all, it's full of what ifs that you'll never get to answer. So you have to decide, do you want to suffer now to build the life you want, or suffer later wishing you had? No one can make that decision for you. Not your parents, not your coach, not your mentor. It's a silent internal war, and only you can win it. Discipline is showing up to that war even when no one's watching, even when no one claps for you, even when it feels like progress is invisible, because it is at first. But if you keep going, if you keep choosing discipline over regret, the results will come slowly, quietly, then all at once. And when they do, you'll look back at the moments when it hurt, when you almost quit, and you'll feel something deeper than relief. You'll feel pride. Because you didn't take the easy way. You didn't fold. You chose the path of growth, and you earned every step of it. The good news is this: every day is a new chance to choose differently. It's never too late to turn regret into discipline, to take control, to rewrite your story. Because while the pain of discipline may be sharp and immediate, it's also brief, and it carries with it the promise of something greater. Regret will wait for you if you let it. There's a common myth in the world that talent is everything, that some people are just born with it, born to win, born to lead, born to succeed. It's a nice idea, comforting even, but it's wrong because talent might give you a head start, but it's consistency that takes you across the finish line over and over again. History shows us that the most successful people weren't always the most gifted. They were the ones who showed up every single day, no matter what. Consistency beats talent when talent doesn't show up. And more often than not, talent gets lazy. Talent thinks it can coast. It relies on natural ability, on ease, on being better than average without trying too hard. But consistency doesn't care about being flashy. It doesn't care how you start. It cares how you finish. It's the person who trains every morning before the sun rises, the one who studies after everyone else has gone to bed, the one who keeps practicing the fundamentals when others get bored. That's who wins in the end. Because the truth is, consistency builds what talent can't. Habits, discipline, resilience, and those are the tools you need when things get tough, when motivation fades, when the odds are against you, when no one believes in you but yourself. Talent might quit when things get hard. Consistency keeps going. It's not about being great once. It's about being good enough over and over until greatness shows up. Think about this. You don't become strong by lifting a heavy weight once. You build strength by showing up to the gym every day, even when you don't feel like it. You don't become a great writer by writing one brilliant sentence. You become great by writing terrible pages, rewriting, editing, and doing it all again the next day. You don't get smarter by reading one book. You grow by reading daily, reflecting, learning from mistakes, and staying curious. Every time you choose to show up when you could have made an excuse, you separate yourself, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in small, quiet moments. Those moments add up, they compound, and eventually they create a gap so wide between you and those who only relied on talent that they'll never catch up. People often ask for the secret to success, but the truth is, it's not a secret. It's just boring. It's the repetition, the daily grind, the thousands of tiny efforts that no one sees. It's the unglamorous work behind the scenes, long before the spotlight ever hits. And the only way you get there is by being consistent, especially on the days you don't want to be. That's what separates the good from the great. Not just the ability to do something well, but the ability to do it well every day, to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep learning, even when you fail, especially when you fail. Because consistency doesn't demand perfection, it demands perseverance. You see, talent might open a door, it might even get you noticed, but consistency is what keeps the door open. It earns trust. It builds momentum. It creates results that talent alone can't touch. Over time, it becomes a superpower because while others are waiting to feel motivated, while others are riding the highs and crashing with the lows, you're still moving forward, steady, relentless. And here's the best part. Consistency is available to everyone. You don't need to be born with it. You build it one decision at a time, one action at a time. It starts with setting a goal, committing to the process, and holding yourself accountable, even when no one's watching. You don't have to be extraordinary to be consistent. But if you are consistent, eventually you will become extraordinary. So next time you're doubting yourself, remember this. It's not about how talented you are. It's about how committed you are. The scoreboard doesn't care about potential. It rewards effort. It rewards habits. It rewards those who keep showing up. Consistency is quiet. But in the end, it's the loudest voice in the room. Because when the talent fades, when the hype dies down, when everyone else has quit, you'll still be there, getting better, bit by bit. Confidence doesn't just appear. It isn't something you're born with. And it's not something someone can hand you. Real confidence is earned. It's built brick by brick through every promise you keep to yourself. And nothing builds it faster or stronger than discipline. Discipline is the silent architect of self-belief. It's the force that shapes how you see yourself because every disciplined action is a statement I said I would and I did. That's the foundation of confidence. It's not the applause from others. It's not medals, trophies, or likes on a post. It's knowing deep down that you can trust yourself to follow through. When you get up early to train, even when you're tired, you feel it. When you study instead of scroll, you feel it. When you stick to your plan instead of chasing short-term comfort, you feel it. That feeling isn't arrogance. It's not ego. It's earned confidence, built from doing the hard things no one else sees. And when you do that consistently, your mind starts to change. You stop doubting yourself. You stop questioning whether you have what it takes, because now you've proven it to yourself. Think about the people you admire, the ones who walk into a room with quiet confidence. They didn't wake up that way. What you're seeing is the result of years of discipline. They faced fear, failure, and fatigue, and they kept going. They showed up when it was hard. They kept grinding when the results were invisible. And over time, those small acts of discipline rewired how they saw themselves. They became confident, not because everything went right, but because they showed themselves they could handle it when things went wrong. That's what makes discipline so powerful. It gives you proof. It gives you evidence that you are strong, capable, and consistent. And the more evidence you collect, the less room there is for self-doubt. On the other hand, skipping the hard things chips away at your confidence. When you say you're going to do something and then back out, your mind takes note. It starts to whisper things like, you never finish what you start, or you always quit when it gets hard. And slowly your belief in yourself begins to fade. That's where insecurity is born, not from failure, but from inconsistency. You don't have to win every battle to build confidence. You just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep trying. When you do that, your mindset shifts. Challenges start to look like opportunities. Pressure starts to feel like a privilege, because now you've developed a trust in yourself that's unshakable. You know that no matter what happens, you won't fold. You face discomfort and you didn't run. You've done hard things and you didn't quit. That's where real confidence lives. This kind of self-belief can't be fake. You can talk big all you want, but your actions will always speak louder. And when your actions are disciplined, when they're aligned with your goals, your values, and your potential, people notice. More importantly, you notice. You start to walk taller, not because you think you're better than anyone else, but because you're better than you used to be. And that's the only comparison that matters. Who you were yesterday versus who you are today. Discipline also gives you peace. Confidence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a quiet calm. It's showing up for a test, a game, an interview, not with anxiety, but with a deep knowing that you've done the work. That whatever happens, you're ready because you prepared. You stayed the course when it was boring, when it was hard, when no one was watching. You trained for this moment, and that knowledge, that's confidence in its purest form. So if you want to believe in yourself, stop looking for hacks or shortcuts. Start building discipline. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Get up when you said you would. Push when it's easier to stop. Follow through on the little things, because those small wins stack up. They turn into momentum. They become your identity. You won't always be motivated. You won't always feel strong. But if you stay disciplined, you'll keep showing up. And over time, that becomes the kind of confidence no one can take from you. Regret doesn't scream. It waits. It waits quietly in the background of your life, unnoticed at first. You brush it off thinking you'll get to it later. Later you'll try, later you'll commit, later you'll be better. But time doesn't wait, and eventually later becomes never, and that's when regret shows up. It's the price you pay for the chances you didn't take, the opportunities you walked past, the goals you talked about but never chased. Inaction doesn't feel heavy in the moment. It feels safe, comfortable. But that's the trap, because comfort now often comes with a cost you can't see until it's too late. And that cost is regret. You don't regret the mistakes you made while trying. You regret the moments when you did nothing at all. The moments when fear made your decisions for you. When self-doubt convinced you to settle. When laziness disguised itself as rest and you accepted it. That's the kind of regret that lingers. Not because you failed, but because deep down, you know you never gave yourself the chance to succeed. Inaction feels harmless in real time. It's easy to say, not today. It's easy to convince yourself that tomorrow you'll start, that next week you'll be more focused, that later you'll be ready. But days turn into weeks, weeks into years. And before you know it, you're standing in front of a version of your life that looks nothing like the one you once imagined. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't smart enough or strong enough, but because you didn't act. And that's what stings the most. Regret is heavy. It shows up in the quiet moments. When you're alone with your thoughts, when you see someone doing the thing you always wanted to do, when you realize the only thing that stopped you was you, that's when it hurts the most. Not when things go wrong, but when you know they could have gone right if only you had moved. You have dreams, ideas, goals. They're yours for a reason. They were planted in your heart because you are capable of growing them into something real. But that growth requires action. Even imperfect, messy, uncomfortable action is better than none, because action moves you forward, teaches you, stretches you. Inaction just keeps you still, locked in place while the world moves on without you. Too often people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect energy. But perfection is a lie. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And every time you delay, you strengthen the habit of hesitation. You teach yourself that it's okay to wait, okay to ignore that internal pull, okay to settle, but it's not okay, because your time is not unlimited. Your potential is not guaranteed. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. And one day you'll look back on today, and what you'll feel depends on what you choose to do now. If you act, even if it's small, even if it's clumsy, you'll feel pride, progress, growth. But if you stay still, you'll feel the slow, creeping weight of what if. And what if is one of the most painful questions you can carry, because it has no closure, no end, just an open wound that never heals. It doesn't take massive, world-changing effort to avoid regret. It just takes motion. One step, one decision, one commitment to show up for yourself, even when no one's watching, even when you're scared. Action doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees movement. It guarantees that you'll grow, that you'll learn, that you'll become stronger than you were yesterday, and that's enough. You'll never regret trying. You'll never regret showing up, but you will regret every time you talked yourself out of chasing something that mattered. You will regret letting fear decide your future. You will regret watching your life pass by while you stood on the sidelines waiting for a sign that never came. The truth is simple. Regret is the cost of standing still. It's the tax you pay on wasted potential. And the only way to avoid it is to move. Take the leap, make the call, start the thing. Show up even when you don't feel ready, especially when you don't feel ready, because readiness comes from action, not the other way around. Success doesn't happen all at once. It's not the result of one big moment, one lucky break, or one huge decision. It's the outcome of small, consistent actions repeated over time. Every single day you make choices. Some feel insignificant, whether to get out of bed when the alarm rings, whether to stick to your routine, whether to show up and give your best effort. But those choices matter more than you think. They're the building blocks of progress. And when you add them up day after day, they become something powerful. Small daily wins don't look like much at first. Waking up early, drinking water instead of soda, getting your workout done, writing a page, reading 10 pages, studying for an extra 15 minutes, saying no to that distraction. These actions aren't flashy. They won't get applause, but they move the needle. They're investments in your future. And with enough repetition, they begin to shape your identity. You become what you repeatedly do. That's the truth. If you make small, disciplined decisions every day, you start to see yourself differently. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who's trying, and you start to believe that you are someone who follows through. That belief leads to momentum. Momentum leads to confidence, and confidence leads to bigger wins. It all starts with the little things. People tend to wait for big moments. They think success means doing something massive, launching a big project, making a bold move, winning something big. But the truth is, those moments are rare. Most of your life is made up of ordinary days. And if you can learn to win the ordinary days, the extraordinary ones will take care of themselves. Just like laying bricks. One brick isn't impressive, but if you lay one brick carefully, then another, and then another, before you know it, you've built a wall. Keep going and you've built a house. Keep going still and you've built a legacy. That's what small daily wins do. They compound. Over time, they become unstoppable. And here's the secret. Those small wins are always within your control. You may not be able to control the outcome of the big things, the test score, the promotion, the competition, but you can control your daily effort. You can control your attitude. You can control whether or not you show up. That's your power. And when you focus on what you can control, you take back ownership of your life. There will be days when motivation disappears. Days when the goal feels too far away, the progress feels too slow, and the temptation to quit feels strong. That's when small wins matter the most. On those days, it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something. Because something keeps you in the game. Something keeps the habit alive. Something is always better than nothing. You don't need to have a perfect day. You just need to make one good decision. And then another. And then another. Stack those together, and you've turned a tough day into a resilient one. That's how real growth happens. Not from never falling, but from refusing to stay down. You might not see the results right away. In fact, you probably won't. And that's what throws people off. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, fast food, quick fixes, overnight success. But real progress, it's quiet, it's slow, it takes time. The gym session that didn't seem to do anything, the book you read that didn't change your life, the early morning run that no one saw, they all count, even if the mirror doesn't show it yet, even if no one claps for you. Keep going anyway. Because one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And it won't be because of some massive game-changing moment. It'll be because you showed up day after day when it would have been easier not to. It'll be because you chose progress over perfection, discipline over comfort, effort over excuses. That's what success really is. A collection of small wins stacked on top of each other until they become something too big to ignore. So don't underestimate the power of your actions. Celebrate the little victories. Track them. Honor them. Because those are the things that shape your future. One decision at a time. Excuses are easy. They come quickly without effort. I'm tired. I don't have time. I'll do it tomorrow. It's not the right moment. We all know these phrases. We've all used them. They feel comforting, like a soft blanket we can hide under when life gets hard. But the truth is, excuses are nothing more than lies we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of growth. Discipline is the force that crushes excuses before they take root. When you're disciplined, you don't give yourself a back door to escape from the hard things. You don't look for reasons to quit or postpone. You've already decided what matters, and you act on it, not based on how you feel, but based on what you've committed to. That's the power of discipline. It makes the decision for you ahead of time. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're busy, unmotivated, or uncertain. It shows up anyway. And that consistency, that unshakable commitment to showing up is what separates the successful from the stuck, while others waste time justifying why they can't. The disciplined have already done it. Excuses will always be there, ready to drag you down. Life will never be perfectly convenient. You will always be able to find a reason not to do the hard thing. The question is whether you'll listen to that voice or rise above it, because the more you feed your excuses, the weaker you become. You start to believe them. You start to see yourself as someone who just can't instead of someone who won't give up. That mindset is poison. But when you live with discipline, you leave no space for that poison to grow. You don't let excuses take hold because you've trained your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. You stop asking, can I, and start asking, how will I? And that shift changes everything. Think about a time you didn't feel like doing something, but you did it anyway. Maybe it was a workout, maybe it was studying, maybe it was a tough conversation, or sticking to your commitments. How did you feel after? Stronger, sharper, proud. That's not a coincidence. That's the reward of discipline. It's the quiet victory you earn when you silence the noise and do what needs to be done. Now, think about a time you gave in to the excuse, you skipped it, pushed it off, avoided the discomfort. How did you feel then? Maybe relieved in the moment, but later guilty, frustrated, maybe even disappointed in yourself. That's the price of giving in. It doesn't just waste time, it chips away at your confidence, one excuse at a time. The good news is you have the power to change that. Discipline is a skill, not a gift. You build it like a muscle. Every time you push past the excuse and choose action, you strengthen it. Every time you follow through, even when it's hard, you reinforce your standards. And the more disciplined you become, the fewer excuses you need, because you start to become someone who simply does what they say they'll do. People will notice, they'll ask how you stay so consistent, how you always seem to be moving forward. The answer won't be motivation or talent. It'll be discipline. It'll be the invisible work, the quiet battles you won when no one was watching, the times you wanted to quit but didn't. That's what creates excellence. There's a quote that says, you can have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. That's the truth. Excuses give you a temporary way out, but discipline gives you long-term freedom, freedom to achieve, freedom to grow, freedom to become who you were meant to be. But it starts by refusing to give yourself permission to make excuses. Every excuse is a wall between you and your goals. Every act of discipline is a hammer breaking those walls down. Day by day, choice by choice, you either build momentum or build regret. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop looking for the perfect moment. Stop trying to justify inaction. Choose discipline. Choose to do it anyway. Choose to be the kind of person who follows through, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Every day, you're faced with a choice. And whether you realize it or not, that choice determines the direction of your life. It's simple, but powerful. You either choose discipline or you choose regret. One leads to growth, strength, and fulfillment. The other leads to disappointment, frustration, and a constant feeling of what could have been. There's no middle ground. No neutral option. You're always picking one. Discipline is hard. No one denies that. It means doing the work when you don't feel like it. It means sacrificing comfort now for a reward later. It means being consistent when life throws distractions at you from every direction. But regret is harder. Regret is looking back on a version of yourself that you know could have been better if only you had tried, if only you had pushed, if only you had chosen differently. That's the truth most people don't want to face. You are responsible for your choices, not your parents, not your friends, not your boss or your environment. You. Every time you hit snooze instead of getting up, every time you skip the workout, every time you let fear hold you back, you're making a decision. And each decision has a cost. Discipline demands effort, but it gives back. Regret demands nothing, but it takes everything. People often think they'll get around to it later. They'll start tomorrow, next week, when things calm down. But time doesn't pause for your plans. It keeps moving, with or without your effort. And the longer you delay, the more regret you store up. You don't feel it right away. At first, it's just a whisper, a little guilt, a little discomfort, but it grows because deep down, you know what you're capable of. And when you don't live up to it, that gap between who you are and who you could be becomes painful. Discipline is the way you close that gap. It's how you step into the person you're meant to become, not with grand, dramatic gestures, but with daily decisions. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's real. It's the path of those who don't just dream, they do, who don't just wish, they work. And while others stay stuck in cycles of excuses and self-doubt, disciplined people keep moving forward brick by brick, inch by inch. That doesn't mean you'll always get it right. You'll fall. You'll miss a step. You'll have days when you feel like you're going backward. But the difference is when you're committed to discipline, you get back up. You don't stay down because you know what's waiting if you quit: regret. And you've decided you're not willing to live with that anymore. The truth is, life isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Discipline isn't a trait some people are born with. It's a choice, a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you apply it, the more natural it becomes. At first, it might feel like a struggle, like a battle between who you are now and who you want to be. But over time, discipline becomes your identity. You start to think differently, act differently. You gain control over your life instead of letting your moods or circumstances dictate your actions. That's freedom. That's strength. And that's something regret can never offer. So ask yourself, who do you want to be in 1 year? In 5 years? 10? The answer is in what you choose today. Because the future isn't built by chance, it's built by choice. And every day, you're laying down the path toward either discipline or regret. You might not feel the weight of that choice in the moment, but one day you will. One day you'll look in the mirror and either thank yourself or wish you had done things differently.